What is up, everybody? And we are back for another episode of the Fantasy Underdogs podcast. I am Jordan Herrard Coupe, joined by Sam and Evan. We are now headed into week 14 of this season that has been up and down all year long. Plenty of stuff to get into today, plenty of bets to be placed. Evan, why don't you take it away?
Funny you say that, Jordan. We're presented by betonline.ag and also the Believe Podcast Network. If you go to believe.com or if you go to betonline.ag and put in our promo code Believe50, you receive your first welcome bonus for 50% for your welcome bonus for your first deposit from basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, which there was a huge card last night for UFC. Yes. I don't know if you two pay attention to UFC, but a huge shocker last night. Amanda Nunes getting defeated last night, and I think the odds on her getting submitted was plus 1,200 last night. For
it was a big deal.
Yeah, it was huge. So if you went on betonline.ag and did that, you must have gotten paid out like a bunch of money. Right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest, easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Boom.
Woo.
I watched the highlights of that. I watched the highlights of that card last night. Like that Amanda Nunes fight she was gassed. Like so gassed. And she just kept getting jabs upon jabs in her face. I'm like, she is gonna be done.
Yeah. No, that was so shocking. I didn't watch the fights live because none of my friends were doing anything and I wasn't gonna pay for it to sit and watch by myself because that's just sad.
That's fair.
I was keeping up on Twitter and I was like, no freaking way. And then I saw all the videos after and I was like, this is nuts.
I love the big cards like this because when you get to see the reaction videos of when Joe Rogan is doing his commentating and he goes,
yeah,
like that. It's that's why I like watching this because when you see Joe Rogan's reaction, it's funny, especially when like shocking like knockouts happen or shocking defeats. So those are cool. So yeah.
No, it was definitely a lot of fun. And we have a lot of fun to get into today. Right now, we're at that point of the season where playoff in every game matters. And in the NFL, just because the season's so short, it's not like the NBA or MLB where you can completely tank and then come back up and make a name for yourself. Every game always matters. But right now, it's like that crucial must-win time for teams that are in the hunt. Right now, it's interesting looking at the playoff picture because last year we got that first season with that added extra team that gets to make it into the wild card. So it's weird looking at the playoff picture this year because the teams that are in the hunt and right on the edge and on the outskirts and in the bubble, however you want to call it, it's weird because like, especially in the NFC, none of these teams are really good. And yet they still have a very real chance of making it into the playoffs, depending on how things shape up the rest of the season. So let's go through the AFC and the NFC teams that are kind of in the hunt right now. The AFC makes a little bit more sense. I would say the teams that actually stand a chance to kind of fight their way in right now are the Colts, the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Browns. Right now, the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Bills hold the wild card spots. To me, that sounds very fair. These are teams that have had some up and downs all season, but overall are good teams. And then you have the teams on the outside that kind of are fighting their way in. They definitely struggled a little bit, but they would deserve a playoff spot. So out of these four AFC teams that are kind of on the outs looking in, who do you guys think actually deserves the playoff spot? And who do you think can actually finesse their way in?
Sam, I'll let you go first on this one because I have a couple curveballs to throw into this.
I'm pulling up I'm actually trying to physically look at it, but for some reason the internet's does not working for me. Wait, tell me again what the ones that were on the outside were again.
On the bubble
on the outs, we have Colts, Raiders, Steelers, and Browns.
I would have to say that. I mean, depending on how today goes, I mean, the Browns seem like the best team out of this little lot. I mean, I would have said the Steelers a week ago. But they looked good, but there were so many things that went wrong on Thursday night. Like, and I know that AFC North is a tough division, but if any of those teams, the Raiders have not impressed me. The Colts, I don't know. I've been rejecting the Colts all year about them being good. I know Jonathan Taylor is basically the best running back in the league right now, but that's all they have is just a solid run game, and that's what's winning them games. So I would have to say the most complete team that could possibly do it would be the Browns.
I'm looking at, and I'm going to throw in the Broncos and the Dolphins too.
Yeah, because they're still
because they're
in
right
it.
on the cusp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
Can you
looking at all
imagine
of
if
their
the Dolphins could like turn this around and make their way into the playoffs?
That'd be wild.
It would be
I would
wild,
be
and
the happiest person ever.
it would be wild, and then I would lose $100 to Chip because of the bet we made before the season started that the Dolphins.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I'm looking at all their schedules for the, the remaining 4 weeks, and each team has a not a doable schedule, but it's like a hard doable schedule because there's like they're splitting games with like crappy teams, and they're playing teams that are good, and they're probably going to make the playoffs. And like out of all these teams, like Miami has the biggest chance to get in because their next 4 games. Look, so they have a bye this week. That's good for them. And then they have the Jets, the Saints, the Titans, and then they close out with the Patriots. That's a doable schedule in my eyes. Yeah, and then I'm looking at everybody else.
Especially they're playing the Patriots week 18. The Patriots, if they lock up a playoff spot, they're not going to be playing starters.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
If they lock it up, they're going to be like, Belichick will be like, yeah, well, we'll send everybody this week. We're not going to make the starters play. Yeah, next question. That's what they'll do.
That was a good impression.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I need a hoodie next time.
The cutoff hoodie. Yeah.
But everybody else, I mean, the Colts they've got the Patriots next weekend. They've got the Cardinals, and then they got the Raiders, and they end up with the Jags. So, I mean, the Colts could squeak in, and then like even the Raiders could make it. Like even the Raiders could squeak in. Like I would say my teams that could possibly squeak in. I would say the Dolphins is my one that could probably get in the playoffs, and then the Colts. So I'd say Colts and Dolphins.
If I'm being honest, I don't like if any team were to finesse their way in, I would want it to be the Dolphins. Just
I don't want to lose $100.
Sorry, I know, but I love that team. I love the Dolphins, and I was so gung ho about them going into this season. Like last year, they were like just on the they deserved a playoff spot last year, but they were just like a little bit too far away. And this year, Tua gets injured. They lose all these games, and then now Tua looks incredible. They're on a 5-game win streak. Like if they could make that happen. That's just a miracle story. But looking at this AFC playoff picture right now, I kind of like where it's at. Like, I like to see the Chargers in there. I like to see the Bengals in there. The fact that the Bills are in the 7th seed right now is mind-boggling.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and then
I
the
hate
Chiefs.
that.
If I was going to knock out any team from the AFC playoff picture right now, I would knock out the Chiefs. To me, they're the ones. They are frauds this season.
Like the Titans are the 2nd seed.
Seed.
The Titans are a 2nd seed, and they haven't been playing like a 2nd seed team. That's the wild thing to me. Like if I have the playoff picture right now, if it ended today, you have the Patriots with the 1st round bye. The Bills would play the Titans, the Bengals would play the Ravens, and then the Chargers would play the Chiefs. If it ended today,
I mean that would be kind of sick. Yeah, in the playoffs.
That'd be pretty wild.
It's just wild to me. Like the Bills are a 7th seed.
7th seed.
When I
they could get knocked out. They could get knocked out.
I have been so disappointed in the Bills. They 100% should have won that game last Monday. 100%.
100%.
With the weather, the being in Buffalo, knowing how to play like that team. Like I don't know what it is about that.
It is literally their lack of a run game.
Wow,
they don't have any sort of run game. And
I mean, like, obviously, Mac Jones didn't win that game for them. He threw the ball 3 times and completed 2 of those passes. So it's obvious that they just Like Belichick just knew how to
Well,
basically finesse the
I
Bills
I
defense.
Here we go.
I
We have
looked at the
Bill
game film.
Belichick on the pod.
I looked
Yeah.
at the game film, and they don't have a run game, and it's cold, and they don't, So next question, please.
No,
Oh,
really.
man.
And at that point, Bills have the top defense in the league right now. And you know the Patriots are going to run the ball every single play.
You literally knew what was going to happen.
Yes,
We
and you
all
couldn't
knew they were going to
stop
run
it.
the ball. I've been like,
and it was
so
also more frustrating to me in that weather. They were able, I mean, they weren't necessarily going for extra points that often, but they were able to make a couple field goals. And in the Vikings Steelers game, kickers were missing field goals left and right. I was like, there is no excuse for this after what we saw Monday night. I was like, if those kickers can get it done, you can get it done.
Literally, just I was just so pissed off at the Bills, like genuinely pissed off. They're not even like my number one team, and I was like, how dare you do this? Also, I don't even know if Mac Jones has ever seen the snow before.
No, in 2015, he literally tweeted and was like, I've never seen snow.
He's a Florida kid, never seen the snow, like isn't adapt to the cold yet. Like
it's not
used to it.
It's not like an out of the world thing where you haven't seen snow. The first time I saw snow, I was 32. That's the first time I've seen snow. I was 32.
Are you serious?
I'm from Florida. I don't go anywhere cold.
Oh my, that's like such a strange concept to me. If anything, like I grew up with a lot of snow and now it doesn't snow as much.
Honestly, once I saw it, I was like, okay, that's cool.
Oh, you weren't even that excited about it?
I was excited for
losing my mind.
I was excited for a second, and then I was like, yeah, it's cool, but it's like dirty, like all the things you see on the movies about playing in the snow and snowball fights.
All right, so you haven't seen real snow then?
No, I was in Virginia. I was in Virginia visiting my sister.
But you need to get like, well, how much snow was it? Was it like an inch? Like,
no, it was a lot because the day I flew in was the day after they had a blizzard, so it was a lot.
Oh.
So it was last.
I feel like you need to go upstate New York where it's like snowing like nobody's business.
Virginia
and like
doesn't really count.
Okay.
You fling yourself into the snow and you lay there and you're like, I could live here for days.
Okay. Like to me, if it's gonna be winter and it's gonna be cold, it needs to snow. Like point blank.
No, it doesn't snow anymore.
No, it doesn't, and it's the most frick global warming. I want to
seriously. It's like the climate is changing or something.
Welcome to my world, ladies, where we don't see snow down here. So
I know, but at least it stays warm.
Stays warm. It stays blazing hot down here. It doesn't say warm. It stays hot.
I'm freezing right now. I don't know if you guys could tell because I have a beanie and a sweatshirt on. I'm in my basement. It's freezing down here.
It was like 32 degrees the other day, and we didn't get a sprinkle of snow. And I was like, please.
And yesterday was like 65.
It's insane. It's insanity. But moving over into
weather.
Well,
NFC.
Let me ask you two. Out of the teams that they have their spots, I wouldn't say necessarily locked up, but the ones that are in that playoff picture right now, what team or teams could be knocked out? Like who could be let's look at the bottom three: the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Bills. Which out of those three could maybe not make it?
I would even include the Chiefs.
Yeah,
go all the way up to 4. I would say the Chiefs could definitely get, mixed up in that. Unfortunately, I feel like the Chargers did just beat the Bengals, but I feel like there's sometimes the Chargers as much as
the Chargers. The rest of their schedule though is easy.
That's true.
It is. I mean,
no offense.
The Giants today.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I almost wore my Charger stuff today. Just so you know.
They play the Giants today. They have to play the Chiefs, which is obviously always a tough one. Then they have the Texans. So that's a good one. Then they have the Broncos and the Raiders. And I get it. Those are 2 divisional games. But to me, the Chargers are stronger and they should get the win there. Especially if the Raiders keep remaining this decrepit.
With those last 2 teams.
Beaten the Chiefs once, though.
Those last two teams could make it so where, hey, we're gonna play spoiler here for the Chargers. Like the Chargers could be in that point where we could maybe lose one of those last 2 games. I could see it happening. I can definitely see it happening when they play the Raiders. I don't want it to happen. I know you don't want it to happen, but I think especially when they play the Raiders, and the Raiders are like that team where, hey, this could be a doable, winnable game, but then the Raiders come out of nowhere and they play awesome and they could just spoil it.
Yeah. Especially if at that point, that week 18 game between the Chargers and the Raiders, if the Raiders are still in a point where if that's a decision maker of who gets into the playoffs and who gets a wild card spot, that could be a great game.
And what a like consolation prize for the Raiders. Like all the stuff they went through this year, and then they make the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah.
John Gruden be like at home going, son of a bitch.
I know. I'll be like, are you freaking kidding me? No, I think the Raiders this season is going to go one of two ways for the Raiders. They're going to start to surge. They're just going to get this like power boost, even with all the injuries, with everything going on, or they are going to completely crumble and fall apart. Interim head coach gets fired, and then they kind of start blowing things up a little bit.
I kind of hope their interim coach doesn't. I
I
like him.
like him. I think he's a good fit there. And I think they I think the players rally behind him and they do well behind him. So I hope he doesn't.
I think depending on how they do, I think they'll probably keep him. The Davis family likes to kind of roll with the coaches that they have for them. Well, not really, because they fired people less than that they have before. So we'll never know. Who knows? Who knows?
But now, so the AFC playoff picture, it's kind of fun to look at, and it's exciting. The NFC is kind of garbage.
It's so garbage. It's so garbage.
It's really bad. Okay, so the order that, like, if playoffs were to, like, if the season ended today and playoffs were starting tomorrow, the current order for teams that have made it in are Cardinals, Packers, Bucks, Cowboys, Rams, the Washington football team, and the 49ers. On the bubble, teams looking in, we have the Vikings, the Eagles, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Saints, and the Giants are still in the hunt. Like, all of these teams, honestly, from Vikings down, my Eagles don't deserve a playoff spot. Obviously, I'm rooting for them to get one. We don't deserve it. The Panthers and the Falcons don't. The Saints, you might think they do because of the Saints, but like realistically this season, no. And then the Giants?
Jordan, I'm looking at the Eagles' remaining schedule. Who came up with your schedule?
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
You have Washington, the Giants, Washington, then Dallas your last 4 weeks.
The Washington football team has Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys. Like what? They were like, it's the NFC East. Who cares?
Literally, like what?
That's a good point.
It's the strangest last 4 games of the schedule I think I've ever seen.
And in the NFC East, like division games are the most important games, and like you're gonna have to do that for the next 4 games, like must-win games. That's hilarious.
The one good thing, the one good.
You know how a dog looks at its owner sometimes, going like this. Like that's what I looked at the last 4 weeks of the Eagles. I was like, what?
It's our schedule this whole season has been tough, but it's kind of similar to what we talked about with the Dolphins and the Patriots. We play the Cowboys in week 18. So there is a chance that if Cowboys, same situation, if Cowboys have the NFC East locked up, if they secure a playoff spot, we could be playing all their scrubs, which is fine. So
I look at the matchups that could be locked in if at the season ended today, like Niners versus the Packers, Washington versus the Bucks, and then the Rams versus the Cowboys. Like those are good matchups. I mean, maybe not the Niners and the Packers, but like, since Washington beat the Bucks in the regular season, that's just honestly, if as a Bucks fan, I'm a little nervous.
And especially Washington gave you guys, they were really the only team in the playoffs last year that gave you an actual run for your money.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
So that's like a nice little, and it was Taylor Heineke's first game last season. Now he's been their starter for majority of this year. So that honestly could be a good one.
I want Washington to get out of the playoffs.
I mean, hey,
they can go.
I would like the Eagles to skirt in there above Washington. That would be nice. So we can lose in the first round, but
yeah, I'd rather play the Eagles than the Washington football team. That way I can just rub it in. That way I can just rub it. No, I'm gonna rub it in your face when we beat you again. So
again. It's not as pretty. And like if I have to live in a world where the Falcons end up making the playoffs this season, which realistically the Falcons are 1 loss away from being knocked out entirely. but still, it's weird.
In if I told you in like August of this year that Detroit would be at the bottom of the pile and Seattle would be one step above them, would you believe me?
Hell
No.
no, never.
No.
Never.
Oh, honestly, kind of.
There's-
I predicted Seattle to be terrible this season, but I
didn't
still would have
think-
thought they'd be higher up in the NFC in general.
Yeah, I mean the fact that the Bears, the Giants, Atlanta, Carolina, they're
all
all above Seattle. I was thinking, I didn't think Seattle was going to be good either, but also like the only team that is a little less than Seattle is the Lions. Is just
How are the Lions not
eliminated?
removed? Yeah, like how is
Because they
this
won.
happening?
Because they won
That
last
is
week.
how bad the NFC is.
And
Listen.
I mean, that's on the NFC side too. I mean, the Texans are the only team that's eliminated. The Jaguars are still in it.
The Jags are still in the hunt.
They're still in it.
They're still in
Jesus
the hunt.
Christmas. Yeah, the
I-
Texans
you know-
are the only team that's eliminated entirely out of
Yeah,
everyone.
No, the Lions already celebrated their season with that win last
Oh
week.
yeah,
for
they
them.
celebrated like they won the Super Bowl. I was honest. I was so
Exactly.
happy for them. I was so happy for them.
I'm
And
gonna
I'm
look
glad
at
it was against the Vikings too.
I'm gonna look at this
Yes.
the last I'm gonna look at San Francisco and I think I
San
want to
Francisco has
say
a 50-50
Minnesota.
chance.
Yeah, I want to say Minnesota maybe takes the 7th spot from San Fran. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that might happen. But like the
yeah.
thing with the Vikings is they're so up and down. But like, and then Dalvin, I hate Dalvin Cook with a passion. You should have worn that thing the whole year because you get injured, you're out the week before, and then you wear that little shoulder rig, and then you explode for what you did this past week in fantasy. And I was just like, why couldn't you have done that last week? Wear the thing all year if you have to. Like, I don't get this. I don't. You went to the school I love the most, FSU, and then you frustrate the shit out of me, Mr. Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. He especially for my fantasy team because like every week, like if I don't have him, I'm scrambling. But then like he's too good when he does play. And I'm like, dude, like it's like so up and down for me right now. Just like the Vikings have been all season long. Like, how do you lose to the Lions and then come out and shut out the Steelers for the first half of this game, but then you start giving up enough to where the Steelers have a chance to actually come back? Like, Steelers were only down at one point by 8 points after being down by more than 20 early. Like, the Vikings are the most frustrating team to me, and I can't deal with them. I don't like them.
I don't think the Vikings deserve a playoff spot.
But they might get in.
mean, none of these teams do.
No.
None of these bottom of the barrel NFC teams deserve a playoff spot. Like in the AFC, adding in that extra 7th wild card makes sense because like these teams, like you feel like they all deserve to be in it, and they were just like so close to not making it. The NFC, it's like a consolation prize. Like, here, you did good enough. Like
It's like playing in the NFC East.
Yeah.
You're good. You're just good
Yeah.
enough.
You're just good enough.
You
Just
just
gonna-
someone has to get in because you are a division. That's the
Exactly.
only reason. Otherwise, it
Did
would
you
not
see
happen.
that TikTok of the girl that like reworked all of the NFL divisions, and the NFL literally
No.
replied to it, and they're like, she
was
was
that
like,
Annie Agar?
no, it was this. I don't think she's like a famous TikTok or anything,
Okay.
but she
Oh.
literally posted, and she was like, humans don't deserve to play animals, so we have like a cats division, and it was like the Bengals, the Lions. Then there's like the humans division, and it was like the Raiders and the Cowboys and all this stuff. And she was like, but then we have like the mythical division. She was like, Vikings aren't real. And everyone was like, I mean, Vikings were real. Like,
They were real.
At
Yes, they
some
were.
point, they
and
were.
the way she broke everything up in all these new divisions, I was
That's
crying.
fantastic.
It was so funny.
She has too
That's
much
great.
time on her hands to do that.
Yeah, no, that actually had to take her like a lot of time to think of.
That's incredible.
And yeah, and she was like, and we have like a quick division, and it was like the Chargers.
Yeah.
Like it was, and some divisions had like 6 Some had 3. It was hysterical. I
She
loved
reminds
reading
me
about it.
reminds me of the girlfriend that doesn't watch football. She just like, oh, they look have pretty
Yes.
uniforms. Makes me
Yes. Oh,
sense.
they're gonna
Makes me
win
sound
today
sick.
because they're teal.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I pick March Madness, though. I'm like, oh my god, I love
Honestly,
the
true.
color.
Everybody does that though,
Yeah.
Jordan. Like I
Yeah.
even like seed. Okay, you're a higher seed. I'm taking you. Okay, upset.
I take every time Wichita is in a March Madness bracket, I take them solely for the fact that in Seven Nation Army, he's like, I'm going to Wichita. So then every time I see them, I'm like, I have to take them. Like, that is how my brain works for March Madness. It's that
That's
bad.
wonderful. I love that.
That needs to be a tweet. That needs to be a tweet, dude.
It literally every year of my March Madness career. Yeah. Wichita State March Madness, baby. All right. All fun and games. Unfortunately, this week we had some heartbreaking news with the loss of Demaryius Thomas at only 33 years old. With the way no one was confirming it at first, I was like, this is such a messed up joke. Who would like mess around with something like this? Because the first confirmed thing I saw was the NFL memes page. That was the first one that posted. And I was like, this is terrible. I was like, why would you do this? And then I saw the reports that it was actually confirmed, and just totally heartbreaking. He had a great career, but he was still way too young. Like, he's only 33 years old, and it was such a freak. Is it confirmed? I saw it was like a health. It was
It
like
is.
a freak seizure.
They're still saying still saying it's a health thing, but they haven't
Yeah.
confirmed what it was.
I saw a confirmation somewhere that he did indeed have a seizure, and they found him in the shower at his house, which is just really just terrible. And I think that these seizures just started occurring like in the past year. So, I mean, it's just really terrible news. I mean, I feel like Demaryius Thomas did that commercial years and years and years ago, which was Only Winners Get Wings. I think it was like a Buffalo Wild Wings commercial. I still, to my family and I still say that to this day. Like, he left a lasting impression, not only in like the league, but in the world. And people have had nothing but amazing things to say about him. Not even in the football league, in the NBA. I know Jimmy Butler was a really good friend of him. So I really it's just really terrible news. And I hope that everyone that was all of his loved ones and everyone have found comfort and love with one another during this really terrible time.
I gotta follow that up, Sam. That was pretty good.
I know. That was like poetic.
I saw it was before everything kind of broke. There was somebody on my Facebook feed that said, "Rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas." I'm like, what? Like, that can't be correct. And then all of a sudden, Twitter started to blow up. I'm like, man, that's shocking news, because you don't think somebody that young could go that early. And
Yeah.
what a great career he had in the pros too. Like, I remember always trying to draft Demaryius Thomas in fantasy all the time because he was that number one receiver, especially when he played with Peyton Manning and they had the Super Bowl win together. And from what guys are tweeting out, he was like one of the nicest guys in the world. And especially when Peyton Manning tweeted out he sat with my son and all that. It was just it's tragic when you see guys like this go early. And if these seizures had just come on, maybe because of football injuries, maybe related injuries, because of maybe CTE or whatever, maybe they should look into that. It's just sad when guys at that high level who had a great career go that early, and you don't see them, get inducted to the Hall of Fame or anything like that. He had a great career, and he's going to be missed, especially around the league and guys that were fans of him. And I was a fan of Demaryius Thomas, even though he jumped from team to team, but he was a good player and a great guy. Yeah. Sad.
I think it's just so sad too, because at this point, like, he still had so much life left to go, and there was still so many directions that his career could have gone. Like, you see guys retire, especially when they're that young at 33, they have so much time left to make a new name for themselves and figure out new things. And it's just such an unfortunate situation and very, very sad. I'm hoping the Broncos can kind of come out today, because he jumped around a lot, but realistically, he's a Bronco. That's like what my mind goes to with him. So I'm hoping they can come out today and kind of rally.
I think they said they're going to honor him at the game today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I saw that too. So that's going to be
cool.
That's going to be a tearjerker. But yeah, hopefully Broncos can rally. I'm still just not over that. That was terrible, terrible news. But we have to head now to week 14.
We've got some
Kind of.
playoff clinching scenarios, Jordan.
Yes.
You don't understand.
There's a lot that could, and like with everything, it being as shaky as it is, like I said earlier, every single game for teams that are kind of right there and teams that are hanging on to a playoff spot.
You want me to go through the
Every game, we're
scenarios?
in must-win territory right now. Yeah, go through the playoff clinching scenarios.
So the AFC has 0 scenarios going on today. Funny enough.
Okay.
But in the NFC, the Cardinals could clinch a playoff berth today with a win or a tie, or a 49ers loss, a Saints loss or tie, and a Falcons-Panthers tie. The Packers can clinch a playoff berth with a win today, a Saints loss or tie, and a 49ers loss, or a win today, a Saints loss or tie, a Rams loss, or a 49ers tie. Geez, imagine the parlays today. That was
Gonna be unreal.
fantastic. And then the Bucks could clinch the NFC South today with a win, a Saints loss or tie, and a Panthers loss or tie today. So those are the scenarios going on today. I wish I had sports betting in Florida because I'd be doing all these parlays today.
Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna have a very degenerate gambling afternoon. Hopefully I win.
It's okay.
Then I can't be a degenerate.
Yeah.
But the first matchup we have to get into, probably one of the best today, and talking about playoff situations, this is a huge one, especially Ravens are in there right now. Cleveland is on the outside looking in. Who are you guys taking in this matchup?
I want to take the Ravens, but they don't score now. They don't score diddly squat anymore, and that has me concerned with them. When even if they lock up a playoff spot, are you going to be able to score in the playoffs? I want to take Ravens, but I feel like this could be a game that the Browns could ultimately win. I think they're coming back from a bye from last week. Nick Chubb is still there. They got Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is back, I think, 100%, right, too, as well. So they've got their two-headed monster. Yeah, they got their two-headed monster. I just don't trust the Ravens offense. I mean, Rashad Bateman had 0 catches last week. Hollywood Brown. With them, it's just an up and down saga with the Ravens. I mean, 10, 16, 10. It's like, what happened to your offense? What happened? What happened to you, Lamar? I'm glad I have a bye this week. I'm glad I clinched the first round bye in playoffs because I can't see another week where Lamar just does nothing, and I get bounced in the first round because Lamar does nothing. So I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one.
I would have to agree with Evan because of the fact that there are so many games, not even just last week, but just throughout this entire season, that the Ravens have won that they 100% should not have won. Like, they just made it through and just came out with this win. And the Ravens are a good football team, but it's only when Lamar is on his game. And when Lamar is not on his game, the entire team crumbles, and I don't know why. Last week he had 4 interceptions, and they still somehow pulled out this win that was just like insane. Like, they 100, you should not be winning games if you've thrown the ball to the other team 4 times. So I think that with a division game, things are obviously very much more competitive. You know the other team more. I have a feeling that the Browns are going to capitalize on the things that the Ravens will make the mistakes that they do, and so on and so forth. And they will be able to pull out this win and get there. And you know, like I said earlier, maybe move their playoff spot up a little bit more. But I don't know. The Ravens, and I have Lamar in my fantasy. I want him to perform well. I think he didn't even score that many points for me last week because of all these freaking interceptions. So
do you know how nervous I am about going into the semis next week with Lamar? I'm so nervous. I picked up Jimmy Garoppolo on the waivers just to have him there.
Incredible.
Just to be like, maybe I should put in Jimmy Garoppolo because I don't trust Lamar right now.
Jesus, the Ravens have the worst end of schedule ever. Are you ready for this? They play the Browns today. Then they have the Packers. Then they have the Bengals. Then the Rams. And then they finish off with the Steelers.
That's why I'm contemplating starting Jimmy Garoppolo the rest of the way because I don't trust Lamar. I don't trust Lamar anymore. I don't. He's been figured out by everybody now. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going against the grain here, and I am picking the Ravens to win in this one. I don't think it's going to be pretty by any stretch of the imagination. The last time these two played each other, it was the sloppiest football game from both sides that I have seen. I was literally sitting there and I was like, in prime time, I was like, this is a joke, because neither one of them could figure it out and get it together. They were throwing the ball back and forth to each other. But for some reason, yes, Lamar has struggled, but kind of like Sam hinted at, the games that they win, they really have no business winning, but they just kind of figure it out in the end. And they're kind of at that point where they've been very, very mediocre and blah the last couple of weeks. So I'm kind of just hoping that they have this surge again and Lamar can kind of figure it out and make it work. Because a couple of weeks ago, not that long ago, we were putting Lamar Jackson in MVP conversations because of the fact that he had no one around him and he was playing incredible at the time and still figuring out these wins. So he's definitely lost any chance at an MVP this year because of how he's played over the last couple of weeks. But if he can still kind of get back to playing like how he was, I would just like to see that from him. I would like to see him kind of finish it out, especially because with the rest of their schedule, it's not going to be pretty. So if they can snag another win today, I think it would be beneficial in the stretch. But I'm kind of hoping this one is as sloppy and gruesome as it was the first time, just because it was hysterical to watch.
Yeah, I definitely. But I mean, I feel like AFC North is already so close. So every game that happens in the AFC North is already like sloppy and messy and insane, and I love it. But yeah,
there's so much tension, and like I would say, they're just as competitive as the NFC West, but for some reason, the NFC West doesn't seem as toxic.
yeah,
Like, AFC North is like they hate each other.
they do. I think it's just longer.
Yeah.
Like these teams have just been around longer, and I mean the Bears, not the Bears, sorry, the Browns and the Steelers. I mean, have literally been around since like the dawn of time.
Yeah.
So I don't. This division is, weirdly enough, I didn't think it was going to be this tight, and it is this tight because the Bengals did make it
Yes.
like a 4
the
game.
quickest turnaround.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be one of the better games of the day.
Yeah.
Who has a better game, Lamar or Baker?
Baker.
Lamar.
Okay. Okay.
We knew what my answer was going to be there.
I mean, Baker he's not riding the struggle bus. He's driving that thing with one arm because the other one is falling out of his socket.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Mangled.
It's out of place. It's just kind of chilling there.
I was like totally okay with them benching Baker and like having him heal, but he's like, I'm a man's man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play. I'm like, you dummy. You're
Look
so
at all my
stupid.
commercials.
Yeah.
I hate him. All right, the next game is not as exciting. We have the Tennessee Titans taking on Jacksonville.
We can move on.
Is anyone taking Jacksonville here? Yeah, remember when we
swept the Jags last week?
Yeah, that didn't turn out too well.
I think we were.
I don't know why we thought that was.
I put money on it. I put $10 to win 80 that the Jags would beat the Rams, and I lost $10. Titans. All right, now we're back to another fun divisional one. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Raiders. The last time these two played each other this season, everyone picked the Raiders because the Raiders were looking great. The Chiefs were looking terrible. Chiefs came out, beat the Raiders 41-14 in Vegas. Now, Chiefs are on a 5-game winning streak. Raiders are crumbling. They're in Arrowhead. Do the Raiders come out and pull a Chiefs this week and completely dominate them? Or are the Chiefs running away with this one?
I wouldn't say they're going to be running away with this one, but they're going to win. I mean, I really want to see a good, consistent game out of Patrick Mahomes. Last week, he had under 200 throwing yards and 1 interception, and it was just, what happened to you, man? I love you, man. What happened to you, man? And the Raiders are just riddled with injuries. Darren Waller's out again with a knee injury, and Kenyon Drake's out for the season. So the Raiders are they're like kind of hobbled together with like duct tape and hopes and prayers. I mean, this was the last time they met. Was this in the game that Mahomes threw like 5 touchdowns?
Yes, it was like his bounce back.
I don't think he's gonna have the same game as that last time, but he's going to have a decent game, but the Raiders are just,
No, the Raiders don't impress me really anymore. At the beginning they did, but they've been on this slow decline, and last week they lost to the Washington, right? It was Washington last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They lost to in
Yes.
a heartbreaking field goal for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, the Chiefs beat the Broncos last week in a division game. I don't see why they can't snatch up another division win here, especially in Arrowhead. Like Evan was saying, the Raiders are crippled. I mean, it's appropriate to say duct tape because it's basically like the color of their jersey. I always think whenever I see their jerseys, I'm like, it looks like you just got a black t-shirt and put duct tape on and just made your number out of duct tape. And, like,
surprisingly enough, when they first
It
entered
goes
the
with the
league, that's
vibe.
what they did. When they were first a team in the league in Oakland, that's what they used to do.
Yeah,
Just-
but
I'm just kidding.
it goes with the whole vibe. Like they're very like
I was
edgy
like,
and
really?
raggedy, and it worked. But yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs.
I'm taking the Chiefs here too. I agree with Evan. I think this one, I don't think it's going to be a blowout like we saw back in, I can't remember what week it was, week 9 or something, week 5, whenever they played each other. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think Chiefs are going to get the upper hand here. God, we're like rotating between really good, exciting division games
really
and then
crappy
terrible.
games.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Saints,
it's not even like the
yeah.
Saints are the Saints this season, but taking on the New York Jets. What do you guys think is going to happen here? It's in New York.
Sam, I'm going to let you go with this one.
Okay. I am picking the Saints here because they have been on a losing streak, and I saw a quick little stat that said that they have lost 5 straight games, and it is the first time they've done this since 2006 with Sean Payton.
Jesus Christ.
So it's like, yes, you can win, you can lose like all these games, but at some point, like teams like this that can win a game, there's got to be that relief somewhere, and this is the best time to do it. The Jets have been up and down, and they were looking a little bit better for a moment. Then Gardner Minshew was just like, nope, I'm here, I'm gonna do my thing.
Yeah.
And so I just think that this is the relief that the Saints are looking for. I really don't see them losing a 6th game against the Jets, even if it is in New York.
Jets are without Elijah Moore too.
Yeah. And I mean their
Fantasy
whole
stud this year, by the way.
Yeah.
their whole quarterback situation is just atrocious, and it's giving me Miami vibes from last year where like nobody knew who was starting, no one know what's going on. So I'm gonna go with the Saints here, and they're coming off a long week as well.
I was gonna pick the Jets because I
am picking the Jets.
But
God bless.
But hold on a second now. I think I'm gonna stick with my pick with the Jets because the reason why if Zach Moore can have a great game like he did last week against the Eagles, I think he can maybe do that again against the Saints. And the Saints just there's no identity on offense right now. I know Kamara is going to be back 100% because he practiced fully this week. He's supposed to be back in there today. But the Jets are that kind of team right now where they've got nothing to lose and they can play spoiler to the Saints. I hate the Saints anyway. Since I'm a Bucs fan, I hate the Saints. Come on, it's in our DNA. I just don't like this. Is just the Saints with all their quarterback conundrums. If it's going to be Taysom, is it going to be, Trevor Siemian? I just don't see Hill having a decent game. They're going to be running a ton. We all know this.
Yeah.
It's going to be Kamara all day, and Hill's going to be doing wildcat packages all day. Now, I know the Jets had issues with their run defense, but I want to say the Jets are going to pull out a win. Just
I can fully see the Jets pulling out a win here. I just think the reason the Saints are losing, because even with their like quarterback injuries and all that terrible stuff, it just seems like they're lacking an identity. Like they don't know who they are. It seems like they don't really know how to game plan. And I think the problem too is it's not just they're dealing with a quarterback injury and they don't know who their quarterback is going to be. Receivers, Michael Thomas, you think he's coming back. He's not coming back. Then you have to deal with Alvin Kamara. And like there's been injuries all over. And I just feel like they're lost. First season without Drew Brees for them to come out and then just kind of have all of this. They were in salary cap hell. They had to like cut all these ties that they didn't want to cut ties with. So I just think the Saints are struggling right now because they don't even know who they are and they're just in this rebuilding period. And I still technically think that they are the better team right now than the Jets. But the Jets, to me, they're broken and they're still in that rebuilding period too, but they have it more together, in my opinion. And they have home field advantage here. I just think they're going to be able to get it done. So that's
We'll
my
see. You gonna put money on it?
takeaway. We'll see. I'm
You're
probably going to take the Jets in a parlay.
Do it. I would.
I think I'm going to. I
would.
love to do like a big upset. I mean, I put money on Jacksonville against the Rams last week. So taking the Jets against the Saints doesn't scare me that much. All right, moving in. This is Sam. This is a huge one for us in the NFC least.
Oof.
Dallas Cowboys taking on the Washington football team. Washington, who is hanging on to the 6th seed in the playoff picture. What are we expecting here?
The second I heard Mike McCarthy guarantee a win against this, I picked Washington immediately. I was like, there's no way you can go out there and say, first of all, just go away, Mike McCarthy. You still spreading COVID all over the place. Like, who knows what's going on with him? You can't come out here guarantee a division win against the other good team in this division.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Like, if you were going up against the Eagles or the Giants, I'd be like,
Yeah.
But Washington is like the other good team, and I have a feeling that Heineke's coming off that high from last week. The kid is good. The kid is getting the job
Very
done in
good.
Washington. I really enjoy watching Taylor Heineke. Again, just the fact that you guaranteed the win immediately was like you just filled your entire team's ego up, and they're gonna walk in and be like, "Yeah, we got this." Now, I'm going with Washington.
I'm going with Washington too. Dallas's run game is really on the mend right now. I think Pollard's a game time decision, and then Zeke's like an afterthought now.
Yeah.
I like Washington as much as they scare me if they make the playoffs. They're like playing good football, and the funny thing enough, like they've got their top defensive guys that are out this season. They had Chase Young's out.
They've gotten better since Chase Young got hurt, which is the craziest thing to me.
Montez Sweat was out with a broken jaw. He's back, and they've been playing good football without those top rushers on their defense. And
no, Montez Sweat, does he have COVID?
Oh, is he out? Yeah, that's right. He is out with COVID. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so he's out
not
too.
Playing.
I love the quote when Ron Rivera was like, "We'll be fine. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we'll be good." And they are. They're gonna be fine.
It's one thing to say we'll be fine. It's another thing to say we're guaranteed win.
A win, yes.
Plus, we pick Ron Rivera over anybody any day.
Right.
Let's be real.
I like Washington. I think they've got the better team. It's just Dallas. They're banged up a lot, especially on the offensive side. And just Dak doesn't have his safety blankets anymore.
Yeah,
so he's gonna be thrown it a lot. So we'll see. But I've got Washington in this one.
Yeah, this is a weird one for me because in my heart I like Washington so much more than I like the Cowboys, obviously. But to give the Eagles any chance at a playoff, like I said, not that we deserve it, not that it's realistically going to happen, and like I said, even if we make it, lose in the first round, but if we want to give us any chance of getting there, Washington has to lose this game because let's be real, our loss to the Giants took us out of any chance of winning the NFC East outright, which was a long shot anyway, but we still had a chance. So now Cowboys can win out the rest of Cowboys can win out the rest of this season. They can win every game. It's not going to affect us. They basically have this locked up. Washington having that wild card spot, that's what's affecting us right now. Tie that in with the 49ers and the Vikings, who also need to keep losing. But I want Washington to win, but I have to take Dallas here just for the sole fact of putting my Eagles first and giving us any sort of chance. So this is the one time in my life I will be rooting for the Dallas Cowboys.
You better not let like Philly podcasters that do the Eagles hear you say that. They'll be very upset with you.
No, I'm doing it for the greater good of the Eagles. It's for
it doesn't matter. Come on, Jordan. You know for yourself, Eagle Nation's nuts, especially if they hear one of their own.
Oh, I know. I wrote an article that was published while we were live where I said we have to root for the Cowboys, and I was like, don't come after me. I was like, we need them to win. So we'll see
Love
the
the-
hate I get. Yeah, we'll see
I
the
would
hate
love
I
to
get
see.
for that one.
I would love to see the comments on that.
All
Be
right,
fantastic.
moving on. We have the Panthers taking on the Falcons, two playoff hopeful teams that also do not deserve any chance of being in the playoffs. This is an interesting one. What do you guys think? I'm not excited about this one.
Does anybody have a coin to flip
Yeah.
No, literally.
for this trash
Honestly,
game?
I don't have anybody picked for this game yet. I cannot figure okay. I've been trying to figure it out. Who is starting for the Carolina Panthers at quarterback?
Newton is, I think.
He is
Well,
starting.
yeah.
They're sticking with Cam for right now. Yeah, I mean they've got
Okay.
another option. I mean they don't trust PJ Walker enough.
I was
They got
gonna
no
say
other
I saw a report that like PJ Walker was in the mix, and I was like, wait a second, what's going on? Either way, I mean the Panthers did win the last time, but it was with Darnold. So I would say if we're flipping a coin, might as well just go with the other side, 1-1. Let's go Falcons.
Like our next couple of matchups we're talking about are trash matchups.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I'm gonna
they're
pick it.
not good.
No, in honor of Chip, I'm gonna pick the Falcons.
Yeah,
They've got-
I want the Falcons to pull it out here.
Better run game set. Cordell Patterson's been a revelation this year. I want to see something out of Kyle Pitts. Like
Yes.
the dude, come on, bro. You should be like the number one receiver
Haven't
for Matt Ryan.
spoken about Kyle
No.
Pitts, I feel like all year.
And
No,
I
because-
was like his number one
Yeah.
fan. This
So was
whole,
I.
but he's done nothing. And I don't think it's necessarily all his fault. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's still disappointing. I had him, I thought he was gonna be
So did I.
offensive rookie of the year. Like I had all these high hopes for him and nothing.
I drafted him way too high, and then I'm glad I picked up Dallas Goddard because
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts
because
has been
he's
trash.
been explosive.
So yeah,
Have you
I'll
been
go.
starting Dallas Goddard over Pitts?
Started Dallas Goddard last week and reaped the benefits of the 2 touchdown
Wait,
game.
do you want to
Yeah.
hear? Do you want to hear my fantasy like hell situation right now?
Please
I
do.
have Dallas Goddard and Darren Waller, which has been incredible all season. Dallas Goddard's on a bye and Darren Waller's out. So I had to go. I went and picked up Darren Waller. I had to drop a running back. I think it ended up working out because I think I dropped Kenyon Drake, which was fine because he's out for the season anyway. But so I picked up Darren Waller's backup, who I plan on dropping next week just to try and get me through. But yeah, no, it was. I literally looked at my fantasy team and I was like, I'm screwed.
See, I'm glad I locked up my first round buys for both of my leagues. So
Yeah, that must be nice.
it is pretty nice. I can just kind of sit back and relax and go, oh, I don't have to stress out this week.
Yeah, no. And I'm in my one team, I had Najee Harris and Justin Jefferson. Najee, who put up 25, Justin Jefferson, who put up 20, and the rest of my team is so in shambles. I'm still projected to lose. I was like,
I
okay,
had
fair.
Najee and Firemuth and Najee this for Thursday night's
Firemuth?
game. Firemuth.
All right, yeah. Let's get into some of these freaking even worse games.
Oh yeah.
It's-
The
it's-
winner right here.
Exhilarating stuff we have going on.
Who's starting at quarterback for Houston? Isn't Tyrod out again?
It's Davis Mills.
Davis Mills, General
Oh,
Mills.
I made a
Jesus
TikTok about
Christmas.
it this weekend.
If the Seahawks lose this game, they don't deserve to finish out the rest of the season.
DK
They don't.
Metcalf should like have 1,000 yards this
Yeah.
one game.
I mean,
This is where we
Houston
should see
didn't-
the Seahawks look like the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Houston didn't score any points last week, right?
No,
Oh,
goose egg.
Houston's had many weeks like that this season
Yeah, goose egg
where they
last week.
just can't. They get blown
And-
out like 30-0, 40-0.
And Seattle's coming off of a pretty solid win
Yes.
from last week
49ers.
against the 49ers. So I mean, poor Tyrod Taylor. I feel
It's
so bad for him.
He's like, please just let me get through a season and not be replaced by a rookie quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor reminds me of that one guy. Did you guys ever see the movie Final Destination?
Yes.
Yeah, which
He's-
one?
Yeah.
All of them. He's like that one guy in Final Destination where he's like that one dude where he almost gets killed, but he's okay until the end. But like he ultimately something bad will happen to him. That's what
Yeah.
Tyrod reminds me of. He's that guy.
No, Tyrod Taylor's career has been a Final Destination movie.
Yes.
Like,
agree.
like-
Tyrod
like,
Taylor is like
it's
Wiley
so
is like
bad.
Wiley Coyote. Tyrod Taylor is Wiley Coyote. That's
It's
what
so
Tyrod Taylor.
heartbreaking. And he doesn't deserve it. Like he just
No.
like there are so many other guys who have made it throughout a whole season as a starting quarterback where Tyrod Taylor easily would have been a better op. Like it's so sad.
If you're gonna like sign Tyrod to your team, wrap him in bubble wrap and ship him in a
Yeah.
box and go. This
And
is
have
how
a
you're gonna-
rookie on your bench
Yeah.
because it's so bad. Oh, poor
I'm going.
Tyrod.
Yeah.
Oh, now we have
Ugh.
the Lions coming off of their first win, taking on the Broncos in Mile High. I have the Broncos here.
Yeah.
Broncos
I
are
can't
good.
see the Lions like surging at this point.
Could you
Javonte
imagine?
Williams is going to be huge today. Javonte is going to be huge today.
Yeah.
Like fire him up.
Yeah.
That'll
No. I mean, Sam, literally, like you said, can you imagine if the Lions just started winning?
That'd be honestly, I'd love it for like
I
the
would too,
storyline.
honestly.
But Broncos are not a bad team. The
No.
Broncos
No.
are not bad. The Broncos have looked good. So I would definitely say Denver's going to be out here doing their thing.
Yes. Yeah, no, I would have to agree with
But
that
it
one.
would
I might
be
take the
amazing
Lions
if
to
the
cover
Lions
though.
were just like, we're gonna win the
What's the
rest
over-
of our games.
What's the over?
It's a
Jordan?
10-point spread right now.
Oh,
and the
you gotta do the
Lions-
over on that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. And the Lions, like, they're not winning, but they keep games close. Like, I don't think they're going to get totally blown out
It might
here.
still be a good game.
Yeah. So, and like a lot of the Lions, I was guilty of taking the Lions like literally every single week with the points, not straight up. And they cover. Like the Lions made me money all season because they keep games close. They just couldn't pull out a win. So I'm taking Denver to easily win, but I'm saying the Lions cover 10. That's my thought process going into this.
I like that.
Sam, I'll let you run away with your thoughts on the Chargers taking on the Giants.
Let me just say, I should just be wearing my Charger stuff today,
Yeah.
right? I almost went to this game. I almost went to LA to watch this game, but honestly,
Mike Glennon.
it wasn't even to see the Giants. It was gonna be to see Justin Herbert and but yeah, Mike Glennon's back. We almost had Jake Fromm in the mix. Glennon is literally coming off of a concussion.
Yeah.
The Giants have just looked. Last week was just not good. It just wasn't good. It just we're not looking fantastic. Our free agent wide receiver and our rookie still haven't scored a touchdown yet. No, I gotta go Chargers here. Plus the Chargers looked great last week.
I looked on Twitter like the last week. Jake Fromm was actually trending last week. Jake Fromm was trending last week.
Jake Fromm
was trending on Twitter. I looked at Twitter. I'm like, why is Jake Fromm trending on Twitter?
What's going on here?
First of all,
what's going on
are
here?
you?
Yeah, who's going
Sir?
on?
No, I've just
Jake from State Farm.
I'm not excited for this game. I know the Chargers play this Thursday, and I'm like planning on wearing my Charger stuff to work. Like I don't care. I'm really not feeling it, but we'll see what happens. The Giants have pulled out a few surprises this year. I think I've just given up.
Yeah.
I think I've just completely just been like, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah, I've got Chargers in this one.
Yeah, especially because you have Mike Glennon, who, like you said, coming off a concussion, traveling across the country to play the Chargers. It's just going to be a lot. So I'm expecting a hefty.
And the Chargers looked so good last week.
They looked like the Chargers that we all expected all season.
Mm-hmm.
They had their little dip, and I feel like they're ready to come back out and then just kind of look lovely, which we love to see from them and from Justin, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Cincinnati taking on the 49ers. Cincinnati, who last week I was like, are the Bengals Super Bowl contenders? And then they got like blown out against the Chargers. So I have no idea what to expect. The 49ers, I wrote them off. Now they're surging. I just kind of give up on this whole season, predicting wise, but I would expect the Bengals to win here. What do you guys? Are we all in that boat? Do you think the 49ers are going to pull this out?
I just had to make sure to check to see who I actually picked for this game because I forgot.
This is an interesting game because I like this matchup between the two teams. Like
It's not a bad game.
It's not a bad game.
No,
It's not a
it's a
bad
great
game on
game.
paper. I want to know what happened to Jamar Chase. I mean, Joe Burrow hasn't been getting him the ball. It's been the T. Higgins show the past couple of weeks. Jamar Chase has been just like silent. San Francisco's really got no run game. Elijah Mitchell's out, so they're going to be using like 5,000 running backs now since they've like signed a bunch on their practice squad. JaMychal Hasty, I think, is one of them. Trey Sermon would be another one.
Trey Sermon's out.
So yeah, the guy that throws popcorn at people is going to be running for the Giants, for the 49ers this week. I'm going to pick Cincinnati on this one. I think they bounced back from the loss from the Chargers last week. It's going to be a close game. Close game on this one.
I'm concerned about Joey B and his pinky.
His pinky.
It literally was like bent. Like it was.
First of all, yeah, it went that way, which is not the way that the pinky is supposed to go. For those watching at home, this is not what the pinky's supposed to do.
Sam is actually a doctor.
Yeah, I am certified. I play one on TV, so I know what's going on. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned, and I mean, like, I feel like throughout the entire week this week, I kept seeing that same footage of Joe Burrow on the sideline throwing the ball and then screaming, like just being like, "Yeah, that hurt. That's good stuff." But they have been constantly reassuring everybody that he's fine, and he said, "I'm good, not gonna miss the game." Blah blah blah. So maybe the run game increases a bit here, just so he doesn't have to throw the ball that much. But I'm still gonna go with the Bengals. I don't know why. Maybe because of all the people that Evan just listed off that are not playing for the 49ers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go with the Bengals here, but I'm very concerned about Joey B.
You know that shirt like Browns fans have, the list of quarterbacks they had? You know that that's how the Niners running back situation is now. They just have a list of names of who is the running back because you don't know.
It's going to be a bunch of people running out there that we've never heard of, we've never seen before, and it's just gonna be like, okay, sure, yeah,
you're gonna see
I could be a 49ers running back this season.
You're gonna be like, oh, where's that blonde ponytail coming from? It's gonna be like,
incredible. Now this, Mr. Evan, might be one of. No. You don't think this is going to be a good game?
I thought this was going to be a good matchup early in the season.
Yeah,
but since the way the Bills have been playing, it's not that attractive like it used to be.
Yeah,
because just the Bills have just been so like they've been like inept on the offensive side, and now they're going up against one of the league's best rush defenses. Obviously, the Bucs do have issues in the secondary, but like the Bills are known for a run team, and they've got no run game except for Josh Allen. And lately, Josh Allen's just been meh. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I see a huge game out of Gronk because Brady and Gronk love just to torture the Bills.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. Gronk having a big day. I would love to see a huge game again off of Chris Godwin. I mean, 15 catches last week. 15
you guys
catches.
are going to be in a tricky situation with him at the end of the season because I was like, "There's no chance they're going to stick with Mike Evans. They're not going to be able to pay everyone. Chris Godwin's going to go somewhere else." And now you have Chris Godwin having this explosive season, so it's kind of like, what Evans do you do here?
Evans is locked in with his contract, and he reworked it to free up money. It is going to be a really. I've been praising the Bucs like accountant, how much money he moves when it comes to like freeing up money, because somehow the Bucs have like endless dollars, especially in the cap situation that they're in. But yeah, this is just a really interesting matchup because just the way the Bills have been they've been just so flat like the past few weeks, and it's like not the way the Bills that we all thought the Bills were going to come out at the end and go into the playoffs like this. They could miss the playoffs. Like they're the 7th seed. We talked about this before. Like they could miss the playoffs, and the Bucs could make that happen with them beating the Bills today. This is going to be for all you playoff scenario people, like this is one to watch because the Bucs could win the NFC South. They could lock it up today, and the Bills could be on the ropes about making the playoffs. So, I've got fire the cannon. This Tampa Bay wins today at home.
Yeah.
So.
I in my heart, I want to take Buffalo so bad. I want them. I really, really do. Really do. I do not want to take the Buccaneers, but with the way they've been looking, and I keep every week, I'm like, the Bills, this is going to be the Bills bounce back week. This is going to be the Bill. And I'm just not seeing it. And I think last week with no run game, it just showed like how bad this team is actually going to struggle. So I'm really nervous for them moving forward. And to me, Tampa Bay, yes, your secondary is a little shaky, but you still have a solid defense overall. And then your offense is explosive. So you're going to be able to stop them and get points on the board. The Bills, you have a good defense, but I don't think your offense is going to be able to step up. So I am taking the Bucs here.
You want to know what's embarrassing for me? This was my Super Bowl pick.
It was a lot of people's Super Bowl pick.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
I
people.
had the Bills going. I had the Bills playing the Packers.
I was convinced for a very long time that I was like, yep, nope, this is happening. And here it is. And I'm so not as excited as I thought I was going to be for this. You guys have basically said it all. The Bills have not been playing well. I'm disappointed in the Bills as a bandwagon Bills fan from the past couple of years. Yeah. I have to go with the Buccaneers here. They're going to be playing incredible and at home. And the Bills are coming off of that. Again, I know it's not like the shortest week, but it's one less day to rest. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think I had the Bills and Bucks as my Super Bowl pick. Like early on, like that was like a lot of people's predictions, like going into the season, like the Bills are going to be that team to beat. They're going to be so fun to watch. And
I mean, they were at first.
They were, and then all of a sudden they've taken a nosedive in the second half of the season. Now that's why this matchup to me is just like, it could be just another easy win for the Bucks.
Yeah.
Honestly. You know what I mean?
Which is sad.
I hope the Bills
should be the game of the year.
Yes.
Like, this should be
when the
schedule
came out.
Super Bowl.
Yes. When the schedule came out, I was like, oh my God, week 14, this is a Super Bowl preview. Like I was so hype about this game. And now it's just kind of like any other game going on today.
But we have seen the Bills perform really, really well off a loss. Like the following week, we have seen them absolutely explode. So maybe it is still a good game, but I'm hoping still taking the Buccaneers.
I want it to be a good game, but I just don't think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I agree. And then our primetime game, our last one of the night, the Packers taking on the Bears. What do the Packers, if the Packers win, do they lock up? We just lost Evan. I'm pretty sure. I think if the Packers need a win. Wait, if the Packers win today, do they lock up this division?
I feel like we can't hear you, Evan.
There's a couple moving parts with the.
Okay.
They don't lock up the division; they lock up a playoff spot, but they have to. Have heroes happen.
It's because after that Vikings win, right? Yeah. It's like something happened.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would still love to see it. I mean, division games, we can never, Mike McCarthy, you can never guarantee anything. But to me, this is a great win for the Packers. Lock up a playoff spot and just kind of move on. I still have the Packers going to the Super Bowl. I would love to see it. Packers or Cardinals to me.
Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, just quickly.
No, it's okay.
It's 21-5 against the Bears in his career.
He owns the Bears.
Yes, as he showed that this earlier this season was he.
I own you.
Own you. Yeah. So the scenario once again is the Packers can clinch a playoff berth with a win today, a Saints loss or tie, and a 49ers loss, or a win today, a Saints loss or tie, plus a Rams loss or a 49ers tie.
Oh boy, we're at that part of the season.
That is just for a playoff spot. Yeah, it's just for a playoff spot, not the division yet.
Okay, good to know.
That's where we're at in the season right now, where we start going into all that garbage. This has got to happen, and this happens, and this happens, and if this person does this, and this and that.
So
and if I walk around the street and find a quarter on the floor, then the.
So if Michael Jordan hits that shot from over there, Grandma walks across the street, Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson get married. Yeah, it's
there is trouble in the water. Miley Cyrus was seen leaving Pete Davidson's St. George apartment on Staten Island, as I have heard through the Staten Island grapevine.
Pete Davidson's the man.
He's a legend.
He's got butthole eyes, but he's just the man pulling chicks.
Oh, I am just in love with that man. And I don't know.
Jordan would like drop everything for Pete Davidson.
I have asked Sam multiple times to just drive around Staten Island and try to run into him.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I live on Staten Island,
Yeah.
so Pete Davidson is around, and I know people who know him that like went to school with him.
Yeah,
so
no, I have asked her on multiple occasions, like, can we please go find him? Because I'm convinced that if me and him met, we would fall in love and it would be end of story.
Yeah,
I love him.
And then you could live in the beautiful world that is Staten Island with
Staten
Pete
Island.
and his mama.
Yes, I would love nothing more. Sam would be neighbors. All right, what a turn this has taken. A lot of great
Pete
stuff.
Davidson podcast.
Yeah, this is we are actually a Pete Davidson podcast.
Yep.
That is what we do here. Make sure to place all of your bets on BetOnline AG. We are presented by Believe Podcast Network. Make sure to follow us everywhere at the FU Dogs Pod. And hopefully all of our picks go great today. And hopefully some of these trash games end up being a lot more exciting than we are actually expecting them to be. We will see you guys. Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Yep. Fire up Javonte Williams. Fire up Rob Gronkowski. Peace.
We love to see it.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.